we're gonna do Trailblazer today and just yap about movies because this, like, the theme for this one is the silver screen. I've made a decent progress, but like, I really just wanted the coat because I like the coat a lot. These are okay. I don't like the socks. They just look weird on my feet. I don't know. I feel like they look funky. I do want like the saddle and the bridle just because I like the excuse me. I like the plaid and I want the saddle pad. And the boots. Freaking boots are adorable. Oh my god, the saddlebag. The popcorn is really cool too. I like that a lot. But what I need the stable care coupons. I do not want to spend star coins on stable care if I don't have to. I'm on my last day today, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and can I not? What's going on? Why can't I? For this little yapping session and training session, basically, I have selected some movies, horsey movies, that I want to talk about. And I'll like put the movie poster or like cover of the DVD or VHS in like up here on the screen somewhere as we talk about them. These are all the horse movies that like I enjoyed when I was younger and like still to this day watch. So the first movie we're going to talk about is Misty, which is like a version of Misty of Chincoteague. This thing came out in 1961. I didn't see it until like the early 2000s. And we had a VHS of it. Like my mom brought it home. Somebody had told her about it. I think they like gave it to her. And she brought it home, we watched it, and it was a very old movie, so like as a kid I wasn't particularly interested in it. It just had a horse on the screen, but and I vaguely remember the story was like Misty was this little pony. I don't know that it matched the book really. I don't recall. I just remember that she raced against this like more athletic black horse. Like that's it. That's most of what I remember. And there were these two kids that were like kind of training her, so to speak. But she's a cute little horse. Like the horse they had in the movie was like a little flaxen, chunky, like this one, just like her, just like Flutterheart is. She's chunky and flaxen, and maybe that's why I picked this horse. I was like subconsciously I was like, this is a nostalgic moment for me. And I don't even realize it. Look at me, I'm riding Misty. Anyways, so that's the first movie. I don't have a lot to say about that one, just because I don't remember much of it. I haven't seen it in like over a decade or two at this point. And then you've, of course, got the classics, the Black Stallion and Black Beauty. There's like this obsession with like black horses. I don't know, they're so mysterious or something, I guess, I don't know. But the Black Stallion came out in 1979, and I remember watching that at our neighbor's house, and she had all of the Black Stallion books too, or at least most of them. And I saw that movie before I could read. Like I remember that I couldn't really, like I picked up one of those books and I was like still too young to like be able to read at that level, and I was really struggling, so I just stuck with watching the movie. But if you haven't seen that one, it's like basically there's this Black Stallion that's on board a ship and they're going somewhere. I forget where because it's been so long since I've seen it. But there's also this boy on the boat or ship, and the ship sinks, and so the stallion and the boy get like stranded on an island together. And then there's more beyond that. Like that's just kind of like the first part. They do end up like getting rescued or whatever, but the end of it is like he's riding the horse or whatever. I don't remember all the other details, but I just remember I love that movie, and every time I went to my neighbor's house, like my parents would go over for like a dinner or something, and I was the only kid in the two families at the time, and so they just set me up in the living room with that movie, and The neighbor also had, I hate this stupid fence. This is the one that I always time wrong. But the neighbor also had like a ton of those Breyer model horses, and like the old ones. So all just I don't know how to describe it. They were different than what you see now. And there was like, I'd play with those and watch that movie. That's my nostalgic memory for the Black Stallion. And those Breyer model horses, they had like, there was a Secretariat, there was a Man o' War, like there were a lot of the race horses. Ooh, I also remember that she had these like plates, like decorative plates that she hung up on her wall, and they were like all of these famous race horses. Like she had Ruffian, obviously Man o' War, Secretariat, oh my gosh, what are the other horses' names? I can see them in my head, but I can't remember names. But anyway, I remember that, and I would just like sit there and stare at those plates while we were eating dinner and just like admire the different horses. Like there were like 10 of them. Yeah, that's another nostalgic moment for you. Ooh, looky there, I already hit a milestone. Yippee-ki-yay. Yes, we got some XP. I tend to hoard these things, and then the other day I just like dumped all of them on my horses, so I'm just gonna start using them on the horse I'm riding, because like the whole goal of this is to train up my horses anyways, and also get stuff. But anyway, all right, Black Beauty came out in 1994. This is probably my all-time favorite horse movie. I just adore this movie so much. I love that they give the horse that persona. And I mean, I know it's based on a book too, and I have read the book, but I just love the movie version of it. I think it captures everything so well. It's so sad though. Like, if you've ever seen it at the very end where like it's kind of like, it looks like a dream state, like it's kind of blurry, it's very like saturated colors and stuff, so it's, I mean, as now that I'm older and I can understand the implications and like the not implications, but like the attempts to, I don't know how to say this, like to get it across to your audience that this is, you're not real, like you use those kinds of effects on your video, I guess you could say. And I always thought as a kid that like Black Beauty and Merrylegs and Ginger all like got back together. I was so happy, and then I don't know what happened, but like at one point I watched it when I was older. And you know, you go for a long time and haven't seen a movie as a, like since you were a kid, and then you watch it as a older human being, and you just like catch on to more, you understand more of what's going on, and you just have an epiphany of like, oh my god, what just happened? That's how I felt when I watched that movie once I was old enough to know that didn't mean they were all together. Why does it shove me in a certain direction? I did not hit that directional key. But yeah, so sad, but also happy that he had all those memories. What's the next one on my list? Let me look. Oh, this is a good one. So now we're diving into the Disney movies. But the first one that I'm going to talk about is Flash. And that came out in 1997. It's about that chestnut little horse with a white star, and I forget the kid's name. Oh my god, what's the kid's name? Anyway, not important. Horse is important. But basically, this little boy loved horses, and okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and point this out. I don't know where this whole fascination with like only girls love horses came from, because all of the movies I've talked about so far, the main protagonist was a boy with the horse. I mean, aside from Misty was a boy and a girl that were siblings, but like they were equally protagonists in that movie, and the boy was the one that rode him in the race. Like, I mean, I'm all for letting the ladies have the lead in more, you know, films and stuff, but like, when did horses become just a girl's thing, you know? I don't know. Anyway, back to Flash. This kid, his dad had to like go away for work or something, and he's left at home with his grandma. And like the whole way he gets the horse, like his dad gets him the horse before he goes off to work, and it's like this lovely surprise. It's wonderful. It's amazing. It's the best day of his life. And then the dad's gone, and then something terrible happens, and grandma is not here anymore. And so this kid just is like on his own. Like he's not an orphan, but he's like trying to prevent himself from going into like the state system. And so he runs off with his horse and like tries to like cross the country to get to where his dad is going to be. And so that movie is like that whole journey to get over there, and it is so good. I love that movie. Not as much as Black Beauty, because I'm just partial to Black Beauty, but Flash is really up there. Such a good one. And the next Disney movie that came out was called Horse Sense in 1999. And this one had what are their names? It's like, I think Joey and Michael. They're brothers, and like one of them's like significantly older than the other one. And the movie has the two of them as the main, and it's like, city slicker comes to the ranch kind of thing. And that one's pretty funny. And it also incorporates like conservation efforts. Like a land trust is one of the main pivoting points in the movie, where like certain land is trying to be taken over by like a corporation, and they find a way to, there's this Mustang herd on the land, so they're like, well, we need to put this in a trust and try to get it approved for that, so that the corporation can't have the land and they can't develop it and they can't take it away from this family or from this farmer, like from these animals that live, it's their home. So I really love that they had that in there. As in, like, I mean, obviously I didn't like notice that when I watched it in 97 or 99, but now that I am an adult and older, I appreciate that was incorporated, because it's a really important thing to know about, I feel. So, but that one is like largely comical. I mean, most of these have a lot of comedy in them, but that one's really like, it's just a good portion of the movie is this city slicker dude trying to figure out how to work around horses, and it's a good one. Good classic movie. And I also really love the part they're trying to get him on the first horse. And I experienced this scenario when I was a trail guide. I would have people come in and be like, I want to ride that horse. And I was like, no. And that's exactly what happened in this movie. The city slicker guy comes out and he's like, sees this gorgeous black horse again. It's always a black horse. But this one has like white socks and, a blaze and like really flashy looking. And he's like, I want to ride that one. I don't want to ride the like one that you told me to that's like supposedly safe or whatever. He's like, I want to ride the cool horse. And that is exactly what people do. When I was a trail guide, I used to do that in the summers for the most part, and then I did it while I was in college, and I was taking online classes for a couple years so that I could work more. I would have rides come out, and like these people had no idea. God bless them. Like, and they don't have to. They don't have to have an idea. It's my job to make sure they're safe, and it's also their job to listen to me. I will say that. I had one person. He was on this retired racehorse who had a stifle injury during his career, and so he could not jump. He could do all the flat work, and he was just an absolute gem on the flat and on the trail. He never did anything wrong, basically. But he was so slow when he was on the trails. Like, he would walk so slow. And the only time we could ever keep him moving really well is if we had him as a lead horse and like one of us was riding him, so we could push him along a little more. But we would typically put him in the back as the caboose because he hated horses behind him. He would get so cranky if they got too close. And like too close for him was not actually too close to be to a horse. Like he wasn't even close enough to kick them or anything, but he would still get pissy about them being that close to him. So anyway, I had we had a big enough trail that it required both a lead and a rear rider, because it was so many horses. As you go through the trail and you're taking turns, you can't look behind you and see the rest of the pack or herd or whatever. So I was in the back on, who was I riding? Oh, I was riding the only horse that okay, so the horse's name that was cranky was Donnie, and he had a buddy named Rio, and I was on Rio behind Donnie because Rio was so round that sometimes his saddles would slip around on him, even with like breast collars. So like typically we would only ride him to make sure we could keep him balanced and not end up like hanging off the side of him. And Donnie would let Rio behind him better than he would others. It wasn't great, but I could, keep my distance. And we got a little far behind at one point. And I just kind of told the guy in front of me, I was like, just like squeeze with your legs just a little bit, get him to walk forward just a hair more. This dude kicks the horse and just takes off. It woke Donnie up so fast. He was like, whoa, sir, are we going for a run today? Oh my God. And this guy, before I heard him like when he was talking to the rest of his crew that was going to go out on the trail and that we were responsible for. He was talking about how he wants to run, he wants to go, he's gonna be a cowboy or something like that. And I was like, oh great, you're gonna be so much fun. We're putting you in the back. Oh my God, he did. He took off. Thank goodness Donnie has enough sense. He just got I think he just got startled, so he picked up a canter for 3 strides, and then he came down and just trotted until he got up to the group. And that dude was just flopping around on the back of that horse. I can't. So yeah, the people that don't know horses and they come in and they're like, ooh, I want to ride that one, or ooh, I want to go fast. It kills me sometimes. I know you want to go fast until you go fast. I got more trail stories, but we're not going to waste our time with that. We're staying on topic with the movies. Then the last Disney movie that came out is called Ready to Run. And this one was another one of my favorites. I've watched this so many times because it came out in 2000. So I was in elementary school around this time. So I was old enough to kind of know a little more about what's going on in the movies I'm watching. And this one was the girl in it she could hear the horses. So this is the first time I had an introduction to the girl's the protagonist in the story and has this special connection, or they call it the gift, as does every movie and book and TV series that you've ever seen with horses. They call it the gift. And she could talk to the horses. And there was this one horse that just he never won any races. He was terrible at stuff, blah, blah, blah. And she ended up getting him because his owner didn't want him. And he said he's not even worth a bag of peanuts. So she trades a bag of peanuts for the horse. Because she's just sitting there eating a bag of peanuts. And as a kid, I saw that and I was like, that is brilliant. That is perfect. I was like, I'm going to carry a bag of Planters peanuts around with me just in case. Just in case this scenario comes up for me and I can get a free horse. Oh my gosh. The things I would have done to have a horse at an earlier age. And then that movie also has like kind of a goofy character in it, and he's the dude character, but it was kind of turned the normal story on its head a little bit because it flipped who was the main protagonist, and it just had a different storyline. It's a really good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, Black Beauty's my favorite, but what in Star Stable? You need to help this poor person. They're getting dragged. Anyways, moving on. This next one that I'm going to talk about is like it's my favorite horse movie where the people are talking. Let's say it that way. So, it's called Virginia's Run. And this is another one that, oh my God, what is happening? What are we doing right now? Why am I stuck? Golly days. Ugh. Okay, I'm too close to the rail. Sorry. It's called Virginia's Run. And it's another one that my mom brought home because somebody told her about it, or she might have found it at the store. I don't remember, but it was a VHS tape, and I loved this movie. It was like, it's about a family, but like mainly this one girl that like loves the horses, and like their mom had a really bad accident on horses, so like the dad no longer lets the kids ride, or like one of them doesn't even want to ride because of the same reason, but the other one like still loves it and like wants to keep riding. And so she like has to ride under the cover of night, like she only rides at night, and she rides this horse named Stormy that she saved as a foal, and they just take night rides out. And there's just one scene where she like jumps over basically the hood of a car, and I just think that was the coolest freaking thing. And now I'm like, oh my God, child, what are you doing? But I used to think that was the coolest freaking thing. But anyway, there's also one scene in there so there's this dude that's obviously like the problem child. He's the rich kid that gets everything he wants, doesn't really know how to ride. He's, everything's bought for him, so he just like sits in the saddle and kicks the crap out of the horses and wins races because the horses are just good horses. And there's one scene where they're out there feeding a foal. The main character, Virginia, she's out there feeding this foal with some other dude that's like helping manage that care. And one of the big cross-country races like comes through that pasture, and they just like surge around this poor little foal, and Virginia and this dude are trying to keep the little foal safe. And this guy, I forget his name, is it Daryl or Darren, something like that, I forget, it might be Darren. He comes through on the horse, and he's like, get off the trail. And they're like, just like give us some space, like go around us, like please don't trample us, we got a foal here, guys. And then Virginia watches as Darren or Daryl, whoever, rides away, and he's like flopping around, his elbows are out, he's just flapping his arms, and she yells at him, keep your arms in, you ride like a chicken. Y'all, that is the best insult I think I've ever heard on any horse movie. The first time I heard it, I died laughing. I like rewound it to hear it again because it cracked me up. And another side story to this is I used to ride on an equestrian team in college. It was a hunt seat team, and we had members. It was like a club, but we also had like a competitive team. But the club members didn't always participate in the competitions. They would like take lessons through our trainer though, and because of that, we had like a pretty big group of people. And the year that I was the treasurer, So just like in my role play, was actually the treasurer of my equestrian team and club, and I organized a couple of like outreach days where some of these, like mostly our freshman riders who were really interested in riding but like couldn't quite afford to do the lessons through our trainer. But we told them, like, stay in the club, like pay your $5 dues for the year, and we will find ways to like get you around horses if this is what you want to do. Even if it's purely recreational, you don't like have any plans to do something with horses, like we will involve you, like absolutely. So I set up 2 separate days to go back to my home barn, which was like a couple hours away from where the university was that I transferred to in my last 2 years of school. And so because it was only a couple hours away, there was one time we couldn't quite arrange like housing, and I ended up having the team stay at like my parents' place. We had enough room for everybody to just kind of like all sleep in the floor together. And we watched this movie because I told them all, I was like, we're gonna watch this movie, y'all have to see this movie, it's the best. And when that line came on and she said the keep your arms in because you ride like a chicken line, everybody cracked up. They thought that was the best thing, and everybody that knew, obviously, like the club members that didn't really know much about the horse like riding and stuff yet, we told them what it meant, like how it applied to riding, and it was a fun little moment for all of us. Yeah, I wish I had been able to be on that team for longer. I had transferred in my last 2 years, so like the first year I was there I rode on the team, and then the second year I moved up into the like leadership roles of like, and it was just treasurer. I mean, that's not exactly a leadership role. I wasn't like making decisions for the team per se, like a president or vice or the VP that we had. But I worked really closely with him, and it was the 3 of us that made calls on different stuff. I had to go to all of the school board meetings though. Oh my God. That was a mess. I can tell you right now, school sports administrations are not set up for equine sports. They're just not. They were so confused at half the things I asked them for. They were like, wait, why are your uniforms so expensive? I was like, because they're not jerseys, guys. They gotta be fitted to individual people. So normally the teams would pay for their like sports teams that were, you're not sponsored through the school, you're like a club sport, but normally they would just pay out of their like little measly allocation for their jerseys for the year, and they probably reuse them most years. We never paid for anything like that. We paid for entry fees out of our allocation in general, but we would like the people that could pay them back to us, we would that would be kind of like the expectation is like, we'll pay it, but if you're able to pay it back to us and we can put it back in the account to use for something else, then that would be wonderful. Like for like jackets or something like that. Like we got team jackets one year because we were able to, and actually the year that I started there is when we got team jackets. But I lobbied for us to have a slightly increased stipend so that we could buy some like shareable items. Like you can't really share a helmet. We didn't advise that because it really needed to be fitted to your head, or at least be adjustables that could fit to your head. And then we just didn't want people sharing helmets. Like it's a kind of a personal item. But stuff like having a couple of show jackets in some really generic sizes where you're probably not going to look the best out there in the arena, but it's a jacket that you don't have to buy for $500, So we did that, and they were so confused at why it was going to cost so much for I wanted 3 jackets. I wanted like small, medium, or like medium, large, and extra large is what I wanted, so that we had a couple options for the varied humans on the team. And that like wanted to compete but like couldn't pay $500 for a show jacket and couldn't find anything in consignment or whatever. So anyhow, all that to say, yeah, sports administrations are not prepared for equine programs unless they are in equine school. I think I'm about done with my movies. There are a few more, but I'm just gonna throw them up on the screen right now. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.